look by its cover. This seemingly meat-headed, bro-forward game has cemented itself as not only one of the best third-person cover shooter series with its iconic gameplay and weapons, but also one that shrugs at its stereotypes to both embrace them, when was the last time you heard someone called a dickwad, and defy them with great storytelling and fantastic voice acting.
I don't hang out, dickwad. I'm looking for somebody.
Shut up there. Keep moving.
What'd I say?
10 years after its first makeover, it's gotten another with Gears of War Reloaded. Unlike some games that get the premature remaster treatment a few years after their release, this one looks and feels like a noticeable improvement. As we've come to expect from Xbox Game Studios developer The Coalition, the PS5 and Steam crowds are welcome to the first game in this iconic series with gorgeous modern graphics and frame rates, and no more waiting around for loading screens. Before we get into the details of Reloaded, here's what IGN said about Gears of War's first remaster from 2015.
What made Gears great almost 10 years ago still makes Gears great today. It's a beautiful game with smart cover mechanics, great core combat, and commitment to an over-the-top tone. It occasionally shows signs of age, but those moments are rare enough that you'll barely remember you're playing a remaster.
From playing about 7 hours, Miranda can say that the glowing review of Gears of War Ultimate Edition and its few faults still stand true with Reloaded. The story begins by throwing you into the thick of a losing war. Things go from shit to shittier for Marcus Phoenix and his crew as they try to accomplish one task that spirals out of control. And while that may not be fun for them, it sure is exciting to play for us, especially with the technical updates. Here are the highlights. Reloaded plays in 4K with up to 120Hz output if you have the screen for it. The 60 FPS is a nice upgrade on consoles for the campaign that previously only went up to 30 FPS at its launch and 60 FPS with the Series X performance boost, and 120 FPS in multiplayer is equally welcome. There are more options to change up controls, audio, and more in Reloaded than what was in Ultimate Edition. The 2015 Gears of War Ultimate Edition did a great job upgrading the notoriously drab look of the Xbox 360 original with color adjustments, lifting the muddy gray and brown fog from the planet Sarah. Reloaded takes that a step further with an even more lively color palette and better lighting that resembles what we saw in Gears 5. The uplifted style gives extra vibrancy to splurting blood during a chainsaw kill, and the blue skies clouded by smoke and dust look nice too. The Coalition added extra detail to the environment as well, like additional paintings in legal buildings, dense bookshelves, fridges with rotted food, more corpses, and other fitting decor. It's still mighty odd seeing the Xbox Game Studios logo on the screen while Miranda held a DualSense, but she can only say that the shredding of exclusivity lines hasn't hurt Gears of War one bit. If anything, it's made a strong case for her to do a co-op run on PlayStation 5. The core of Reloaded is the same between all three platforms, but the DualSense adds a twist with the adaptive triggers and any comms done through the radio output through the controller speaker. It was a neat surprise having dialogue and sound effects, like hitting the perfect active reload, presented this way. That being said, the adaptive triggers can be off-putting in some situations, like when hopping on a troika where the triggers feel like they're on max resistance for firing the turret, or when driving a vehicle. So she could see them being unwelcome to some. She got tired of it in the second act during a long driving section, so she did turn off the adaptive triggers for a bit. Another aspect of Gears that's evolved over time is the heavy screen shake with the roadie run. It's less pronounced in other Gears games that have come along since, but the Coalition kept the exaggerated effect for Reloaded by default. She appreciated its unique touch and that the shakiness encourages tactical use. Running around an encounter isn't the way to play Reloaded, and if you do, you'll likely be punished for it. Instead, you'll want to run and bounce between cover, keeping yourself protected from the onslaught of enemy fire. If you don't like the screen shake though, it can be turned off, so it's good to have options. All the cool new additions are also joined by some minor bugs that Miranda saw in her roughly 6 hours she played on PS5. There was some weirdness in checkpoints, jumping her forward and facing a different way. Characters' voices would drop for a line randomly, and she saw some enemies get stuck in between cover. These bugs have appeared infrequently and weren't too bothersome though, and are probably nothing a patch or two won't fix. She didn't see these happen too much during her time with the Xbox version, but just because she didn't see them doesn't mean they aren't there. Bugs are tricky like that. The one actively annoying gameplay issue she came across was how incompetent and overall wonky her AI companions were on the hardcore difficulty level, which is a noticeable downgrade from how they performed in Ultimate Edition. In Reloaded, they go down constantly, whereas Ultimate Edition, they still went down occasionally, but seemed to be helping more. Hardcore is only a step above normal and below insane, so she expected that they should be able to hold their own at least a little bit. She noticed Dom waltzing into the dark and dying to a lurking Krill that shredded him in seconds in one mission. And every now and then, Dom or the other two companions, Cole and Baird, would get stuck far behind, unwilling to leave a doorway. We all love the Delta Squad, but it's not worth reviving them every encounter only to put yourself in danger. Gears of War Reloaded includes a nice extra section, which is something you'd want to see in a remaster like this to reward returning fans who are buying the game for the second or third time, though it's worth noting that the owners of the original get Reloaded for free. What will interest most folks in the extra section are the 5 different issues of the Gears of War comic. Grabbing the collectible cog tags throughout the campaign unlocks pages in 5 different issues of the Gears of War comic, which is a nice reward for those who haven't read them. This was available in the Ultimate Edition, and it's a welcome return. Completing acts of the campaign also unlocks neat concept art. And while the multiple sets of credits may not be what someone who's new to the game series cares about, for people like Miranda, seeing the credits available for Reloaded, Ultimate Edition, and the original are in line with Gears' respect for teamwork. Multiplayer hasn't changed in terms of what content is included between Ultimate Edition and Reloaded, though the Coalition upgraded the 60Hz dedicated servers, opposed to the 30Hz we've had in previous versions. The maps got the remaster treatment as well, with better lighting, visual effects, and best of all, an upgrade to 120 FPS on consoles. PC players also get a 240 FPS option. She expects weapon tuning to be in flux after launch. The Coalition has already noted it's making some improvements to the Gnasher, making perfect active reload damage fixed, and more tweaks based on feedback from the previous beta. If this is your first time playing Gears of War, she recommends finding a friend to join you. The Gears of War teams have always designed these games with a partner in mind, and as was previously mentioned, the AI doesn't really pull its weight on the higher difficulty levels. The Coalition thankfully maintained the option to play Reloaded couch co-op, which we don't see enough of these days. And of course, you've also got the option of online crossplay if your co-op buddy is on another system. She's still undecided on whether or not she wants to spend the next co-op replay on Xbox or PS5 or bounce between them, thanks to cross progression, but she's excited to dive back in either way. For more on Gears of War Reloaded, check out the first 21 minutes of gameplay and a guide video on all 33 cog tag locations. And of course, for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to ReactsFury.